Welcome all of you for today's special session on the occasion of Gaura Purnima. Let us begin today's session with a few prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all of you for today's session, The Apostle of Pure Love. This session is presented to you by Trans Dimensions Club of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and I thank them for inviting me to speak on this topic. There is a lot of talk about love. Generally, a lot of people talk about love. We have many movies made on love subject matter. We have many novels written on about love. Many people they write poems on love. So love is something much discussed topic. Love is in the air. Now, what is pure love, and how do we practice and experience this pure love? So this was taught to us by a wonderful personality who appeared in the 15th century, just about 550 years ago, and he is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he showed us the easiest, the simplest way one can attain pure love, and that is why we are calling him the apostle of pure love. So tomorrow is Gaura Purnima, the appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we thought on this occasion we can discuss uh, some few incidents from his life and some of his teachings, which can actually help us discover pure love. And that is what we are going to discuss in today's session. So I welcome all of you once again for the Apostle of Pure Love. This session we dedicate to our beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in the Navadvip, in a place called Navadvip in West Bengal, and he appeared in the year 1428 AD. And since his childhood, he was very much mm, interested in one particular thing, that was the chanting of the Lord's holy name. Even as a child, when he would cry, uh, his parents and his neighborhood women would try various ways and means to pacify the child, but he would not get easily pacified. But when people would start chanting the names of Krishna, then very easily he would get pacified. He would stop crying when people would start chanting the names of Krishna. So This is something very special, isn't it? Small children, even as a child, you know, being so attached to Lord's holy name. So since childhood, he had been a very special child and attracted everybody's attention. And as he grew up, he, as a young lad, he was a great Sanskrit scholar in Navadvip, especially in his village, in his hometown called Nadia. He was called as Nimai Pandit. He was a great Sanskrit scholar. And he used to teach young boys of Nadia Sanskrit grammar. And he had a very peculiar way of teaching grammar, grammar rules. So, what he used to do is he used to uh, teach grammar rules through the holy names of Krishna. Yes. So, he would actually induce his audience, his students, to chant the various names of Krishna while he was teaching the grammar rules. So that's very interesting. So somehow or the other, he would actually make people chant the names of Krishna. That was his all-time favorite activity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's all-time favorite was just to make people chant the holy names of Krishna. So in today's session, I'm going to share some interesting incidents from the lives of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which can actually be a great source of inspiration for all of us. These incidents definitely prove that he was a great social reformer. He was a great personality, a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and he had a very simple way of making people mad after God. Yes, mad after Krishna. And that was to induce people to chant the holy names. So let's begin. So, the first incident that we are going to discuss in today's session. Yes, you can see this interesting picture here. You can see in the picture Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and with him Nityananda Prabhu, and behind him a big gathering, lot of devotees. They're all marching towards the Qazi's house. Chand Qazi is the one on the extreme left. This Chand Qazi was a Muslim uh, leader, a religious leader. It so happened that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, famously known as Nimai of Nadia, in his youthhood, he wanted everybody to chant the names of God. He wanted to chant the names of Krishna. So he had organized um, Harinam Sankirtan. Harinam Sankirtan means chanting the names of Lord Krishna in together in the association of devotees. So he would actually send different groups of devotees to different places in and around Navadvip, and he would ask them to chant Krishna's names. So once it so happened that some of the uh, men of this Chand Kazi, they were actually feeling, oh, this Sankirtan movement is becoming very popular. This Nimai Pandit is becoming a well-known figure. So they grew envious. So they came and lodged a complaint against this Nimai Pandit and the Sankirtan movement. They came to Kazi, Chand Kazi, and lodged a complaint. So Chand Kazi sent his men, and what they did was they broke the mridangas of the devotees who were chanting and singing the names of Krishna. As you can see, there is a mridanga player on the right hand side, extreme right of this picture. Mridanga is a instrument which is used, which is played along with cymbals, hand cymbals, while doing Sankirtana. So basically, Sankirtana is like uh, singing the holy names of Krishna, singing the Hare Krishna mantra to a particular tune. So this Chand Kazi's men, they wanted to somehow stop this Sankirtana. So they broke one of the mridangas. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit, came to know about this, so he organized a big, massive uh, civil disobedience movement. So this was the first civil disobedience movement that that we can know in the history of mankind. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu organized this. It was a peaceful protest. Everybody, thousands of devotees, they were chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, singing and playing mridangas and hand cymbals, and they were all led by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu towards the house of Chand Kazi. And after they reached the house of Chand Kazi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went into the house of Chand Kazi and he had a friendly discussion, a friendly talk with Chand Kazi. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed Chand Kazi as, "My dear uncle, why did you do such a thing? Why did you actually stop devotees from chanting the holy names of God?" And then there was a wonderful conversation. There were topics, various topics discussed. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted a few verses from the Quran. And, there was an interesting talk between them. And this discussion by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this talk by Nimai Pandit was so enlightening, convincing that Chand Kazi, mm, he came to a consensus. He said that, "I'm very sorry for having stopped your devotees from chanting the names of God. And from now onwards, I shall make sure that none of my people will disturb your devotees while they are performing Sankirtana, while they are chanting the holy names of Krishna." So this particular incident definitely demonstrates how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a great leader. He had a great vision, and he knew how to convince people in a very peaceful way. And the word spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very appealing to Chand Kazi. So even to this day, in Navadvip, in Mayapur, when you go, you will actually see the Samadhi of Chand Kazi. And even today, the devotees go there and offer their respects to Chand Kazi. So he never actually, a good leader never talks about differences. He talks about commonalities. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. And this won the heart of Chand Kazi. So we can see um, religious tolerance being emphasized here in this particular incident. Let's go to another interesting incident, the second one. Can we have the slide, please? Yes, this is a very interesting incident. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas at the age of 24 years. And the purpose for this was he wanted to take up the the preaching of Hare Krishna Mahamantra more seriously. He wanted to spearhead a movement, Sankirtana movement, which he wanted to spread across the country. So for this purpose, he took up sannyas. And while he was traveling uh, in the forests of Jharikanda, the present modern day Jharkhand state, the forests of Jharikanda. So he was actually chanting, singing and chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. Like a person who is, he was very ecstatic. while he was singing and chanting. In fact, seeing his ecstasy of chanting, singing and chanting, even the wild animals of that forest, they actually started to sing and dance along with Mahaprabhu. In fact, it is said that the animals forgot enmity among each other. Like you can see here, the tiger embracing a deer, and and elephants, all of them are dancing to the tunes of Hare Krishna mantra sung by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This incident was seen by one of the assistants who was a devotee who was accompanying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it was later reported to everyone. So this was a miraculous thing that happened. Now, this particular incident has a great lesson for us to learn. Today, we are all, the whole world is talking about universal brotherhood, peace. We don't want wars to happen, and we want to bring about peace and harmony in the society. So Mahaprabhu is teaching us through this incident that uh, animals, even animals can give up their enmity, their natural enmity, and become peaceful and happy by singing the holy names of Krishna. Then what to speak of human beings? So definitely human beings also can be benefited a lot. The human society can attain the much required peace and happiness simply by chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. So this is the incident of the uh, Jharikanda forest when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through the jungle. So he created this kind of a spiritual vibe by chanting and dancing, which made even animals give up their uh, natural enmity towards each other. So a wonderful incident. This is recorded in one of the biographies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called as Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let's move to the third incident, the third interesting incident that happened in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. Yes, this is another interesting thing. This is called the deliverance of the two brothers, Jagai and Madhai. So in the picture, you can see four personalities. The personality who is wearing a yellow dhoti is who seems to be very angry is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the other person, a similar personality wearing a blue dhoti, is Nityananda Prabhu. He is a constant companion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then there are two personalities, two people who are afraid and who are fallen down on the ground. They are Jagai and Madhai. Of course, there's a shopkeeper also in the background, but these are the four personalities mainly involved in this particular incident. So, as I was telling you that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to send his different group of devotees to different directions, and these group of devotees would go door to door, and their job was to request people, please chant Hare Krishna mantra. That's what they would do. They would go, they would offer all respects to the people, they would go door to door, they would, they would actually um, beg them, please chant the names of Krishna, like that. So they would go and they would request people like this. One day, Nityananda Prabhu and his party, his team, when they were trying to convince people, request people to chant the holy names of Krishna, they came across these two very sinful people, Jagai and Madhai. Even though they were born into a very rich, aristocratic, uh, good cultured family, but because of bad association, they had become victims of various bad habits. They were intoxicating, they were womanizing, and all such bad habits. They were gambling and all this. So At that time, when Nityananda Prabhu went to that place and he was chanting the holy names on the street and requesting people to chant along with him, these two people, they were actually in the company of women, young girls, and they became very much disturbed. Oh, these people are coming and disturbing us. Who are these people? So they came out and they saw Nityananda Prabhu and his devotees. They were all chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and the two brothers became very angry. So they said, how dare you come and disturb us? So they took a piece of a broken earthen pot, and threw on the head of Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu's forehead started bleeding, as you can see in the picture. And because of this, Nityananda Prabhu actually did not, do anything. Uh, he did not, give it back to them, but continued to request them, please chant Hare Krishna mantra. Your hearts will become purified. See, this is the personality of a, this is the nature of a real saintly person. He suffers all kinds of personal inconveniences, but he continues to do good for others. That was what Nityananda Prabhu doing. The news spread that these two brothers have they have hurt Nityananda Prabhu physically. So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there, and he was very, very angry. He was furious at the two brothers. How dare you beat a devotee? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became so angry that now uh, he actually displayed his divinity in this particular incident. The Vedic scriptures confirm that Krishna himself had appeared 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach people how to become devotees of Krishna. So he taught by his own example. That was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invoked his Sudarshana Chakra. We have heard and we have seen in many incidents. Krishna, when he appeared 5,000 years ago in Dwapar Yuga, he used his favorite weapon, Sudarshana Chakra, to kill many demons. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invoked, as Krishna, he invoked Sudarshana Chakra. He wanted to cut off the heads of these two demoniac personalities. But while he was trying to invoke Sudarshana Chakra, Nityananda Prabhu immediately he intervened, and he requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to please become pacified. My dear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this Kali Yuga, if you start killing people, practically you'll have to kill everybody, because in Kali Yuga, practically everybody has got demoniac mentality. So Nityananda Prabhu reminded Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about his purpose of his incarnation. He said, my dear Lord, you have come not to kill the demons, but to kill the demoniac propensities of the people in Kali Yuga. Please forgive them. So now the two brothers, they were actually astonished. We have physically hurt this Nityananda Prabhu, but still Nityananda Prabhu is pleading on our behalf. So by hearing these words, there was actually a transformation in the hearts of those two sinful people. And they also fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, I will pardon you, because Nityananda Prabhu is recommending, but in the future you should not continue to do any sinful activities. You should give up all your sinful activities, and you should chant Hare Krishna mantra. On this condition, I shall forgive all your offenses. So both of these, Jagai and Madhai, they agreed. They said, my dear Mahaprabhu, from today onwards, we will chant the holy names of Krishna, and we will not continue to do any sinful activities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with them, and he delivered them. He freed them from all their sinful reactions. So this is a very beautiful incident that highlights, uh, first thing, the quality of a saint, real saint, saintly person that we can see in the behavior of Nityananda Prabhu. And second thing is the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Krishna himself, but he is playing the role of a devotee. And anyone who agrees to chant the holy names of Krishna and uh, gives up all sinful activities, Mahaprabhu is ready to show his immense mercy and compassion upon such people. So, uh, this is a very beautiful incident that is again described in one of the biographies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, a very interesting, beautiful incident. Let's move to the next incident, the fourth one. So, yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I told you he accepted sannyas at the age of 24 years. And on the request of his mother, he remained in Jagannath Puri. So, for the remaining 24 years of his life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Jagannath Puri. And every year, as we know, there is the world famous Ratha Yatra for Lord Jagannath, which happens in Jagannath Puri. And there were so many devotees from Bengal, from Nadia, who would actually come to participate in the Ratha Yatra, and more importantly, to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to stay with him for about 4 months. They would actually come and stay with him. So when the Ratha Yatra would happen, as you can see, there is a Ratha, Lord Jagannath seated on the Ratha. And you can see here in the front of the Ratha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting and dancing ecstatically. He's up in the air and he's surrounded by his devotees, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and many other devotees surrounding him. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sing and dance in the company of his devotees, he was like fully ecstatic. He would display his uh, highest ecstasy. And, there were many groups he had made. He would actually make various groups of devotees to do Sankirtan in front of the Jagannath Ratha, about 14 to 15 groups. And sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would appear in the middle of the first group and he would be dancing there. And in a few moments, he would disappear from there and then he would appear in another group. And there he would sing and dance. Like this, he would keep changing the groups and he would keep dancing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uh, is teaching all of us that the easiest way to love God is to sing and dance in front of the Lord. This is called Sankirtana. Just by doing this, our hearts will get cleansed of all the impurities. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Our hearts will get cleansed just by singing and dancing in front of the Lord. In fact, there would be a spiritual competition between Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, seeing the ecstatic dancing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of a sudden, the Ratha of Jagannath would stop. Then they would bring powerful men to pull the Ratha would not move. Then they would bring huge elephants, and the elephants would go behind the Ratha and they would push the chariot, but the chariot would not move an inch. It was as though Jagannath was standing there with a broad smile on his face, just to see and enjoy the beautiful dance performed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go behind the Ratha and he would push the Ratha with his head. Then the Ratha would start. So these are all incidents, historical incidents which have been recorded even uh, in the there is a something called Madala Panji, day-to-day happenings with important things which are happening are recorded. A historical account has been maintained by Jagannath Puri temple from many generations, and these incidents are all described in that particular book, Madala Panji. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would display such ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, for Lord Jagannath, by dancing and singing in front of the Ratha. So, this is one such beautiful painting which describes this incident. Now, the last one that we wanted to share today, the fifth one, can we have that painting? Yes. So, as we know, there are many people who preach, but they don't follow. There are some people who follow, but they don't preach, they don't share with others. But there are very, very few elevated souls who follow what they preach. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a great personality. The painting that we are seeing right now is that of Gundicha Marjana, the cleaning of the Gundicha temple. Just before this, we saw the Ratha Yatra festival. So Jagannath, once in a year, he moves from his temple through a Ratha. He goes to the another temple called as Gundicha temple. So before Jagannath would reach the Gundicha temple, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his associates would personally clean the Gundicha temple. So first of all, they would actually go pick up all the particles of dust Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, the more you clean this temple, the more your hearts will also be cleaned. And then it will become fit for Krishna to come and stay in your heart. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through this incident, showed all of us that practically we have to engage in devotional activities. Spiritual life is not simply a theoretical life, simply sit down and talk about some philosophy. No, spiritual life means it is full of engagement. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through this Gundicha Marjana means cleaning, he is teaching us that we have to engage in all kinds of services for using our body, using our senses. You have to engage in service of Krishna, and that will help us to attain purification. So these are some of the wonderful incidents from the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I'm sure that after hearing to these incidents, you will be able to appreciate the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and connect with him much in a better way. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not write any books. He only left behind 8 verses called Shikshashtakam. And these 8 verses, they teach us in simple terms what we should do as human beings to attain the highest goal of life. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stresses upon one important thing in all these 8 verses. Always chant the holy names of Krishna. Simply by chanting, our hearts will be purified and we can attain that pure love which we are actually hankering after. The pure love of God can only satisfy the soul, and that can be easily attained simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In fact, this mantra was already there in the Vedic scriptures, recommended especially for the people in Kali Yuga. Popular. He popularized this mantra. So we should also, on the occasion of Gaura Purnima, let us take this important lesson given to us, a very practical lesson given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that simply by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, we can attain pure love. So indeed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest apostle of pure love the human society has ever seen. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. Wish you all a happy Holi and a happy Gaura Purnima in advance. May Lord Chaitanya bless all of us. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Please do chant Hare Krishna mantra, and at least 3 times we can all chant together before ending the session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. First we chant the Panchatattva mantra. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare. Please do chant this Mahamantra as many times as you can every day. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.